Okay. Ready? Shalom Aleichem. What a zchut Erev Pesach to escape a little bit from the shopping, from the agalat kelim, from the cleaning, from all the important inyanim, to come here to the beautiful Biria forest with Holy Brother Yechezkel, and to talk a little bit about the Seder. So many thoughts, Shlomo Karlbach, Alav Shalom, used to say the name of the Holy Karliner. Say, Ribono Shel Olam, we got fish for Shabbos, we got meat for Shabbos, we got wine for Shabbos. Please send us Shabbos for Shabbos. So, Pesach, I don't think there's another Yom Tov that Am Yisrael prepares so much for, so much. And there's so much physicality going into it. And now our davening is to Hashem, send us Pesach for Pesach, send us Pnimiyut, send us depth, send us meaning, send us happiness and connection. We could sit around the Leila Seder, and all that physical labor that everyone put in should have real effect in our lives, and should give nachat ruach to you, Hashem and Barach. Everyone knows what the Zohar Kadosh writes. In Leila Seder, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells all the angels, come with me, come, let's hear the story that Am Yisrael is saying, how they're repeating my glory, how they're repeating my redemption. And this gives tremendous strength in the Olamot Elyonim, in the higher worlds. Leila Seder, order. Actually, I forgot to bring a Likutei Moharan, but okay, we'll say it by heart a little bit. Torah Pei Bet, I believe it's in Likutei Moharan Tanyana, the second part, 82. Very special Torah that Rav Nachman speaks about. That's really some people learn this Torah around Elul time because it speaks about Elul, but it speaks about two energies of Seder v'shelo kaseder. There's times in our life that things go in order, and there's things in our life that we feel that are out of order. This order and out of order is not a coincidence. It's not random. The out of order is not a mistake. The out of order is l'chatchila. The Creator creates order. He creates out of order. He creates the Seder, Shalika Seder. He creates miracles, and He creates nature. Nature, you could look at it as the Olamot Shalika Seder. It's Teva. The Olamot of Nes, that's the Olamot of Seder. Many, many parallels to Seder and Loka Seder. The concept of Seder, the word Seder, appears in very interesting places. The Gemara in Megillah discusses that the Megillah has to be read in order. So does Hallel. Hallel also has to be said in order. It says, the reading of Hallel, the drawing down of the light of Hashem, the praise of Hashem, has to be done with an order. What's this order? What's this Seder? And this night, Leila Seder, we know, is in the month of Nisan. The month of Nisan is the month itself is a month of Seder, the month of order. Because we know there's 12 tzirufim, 12 rearrangements of Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Every month Hashem shines His light through a different tziruf. And the tziruf of Nisan is Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's Kaseder. It's an order. We know these 12 days, the beginning of Chodesh Nisan, very, very big days. The tzaddikim and these 12 days would know all the events that will take place in the next 12 months. Every day here is parallel to an entire month. The unfolding of what happens in every day here is resembling an entire month throughout the year. The Holy Chayza of Lublin, that was Niftar and Tisha B'Av, when the year that he passed away, every year he would say what's going to be, and when he got to the fifth day, he said he didn't say anything. He didn't want to talk about that day. That was the month that he passed away that year. So it's a month of order. There's a month of Seder, and really, when we speak about Seder, it's interesting how far back this goes. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu after Chet HaEgel, when he says, I want to wipe out the Jews, and Moshe Rabbeinu is pleading and crying, and Hashem says, no, okay, you know what? It came time for me to show you how to awaken the Yud Gimel Midot Shel Rachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy. And Hashem tells him, I'm going to put you in a certain place in the mountain, and you're going to see me passing, and I'm going to show you the Seder Hazeh. There's a Seder of Amshachat Yud Gimel Midot Shel Rachamim. This order, this concept of Seder is a high order that exists in the high worlds. There's high worlds and low worlds. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Olamot Elyonim, Olamot Tachtonim. There's worlds that are more closer to the revelation of Hashem. Hashem is revealed more in them. Hashem's beauty, Hashem's truth is revealed more. Those are called olamot elyonim, higher worlds. And there's lower worlds, worlds that Hashem creates, that He's fully involved in and fully creates them. He's just hiding them. That's why they're called lower. And they're called Sheloka Seder. Olamot of Seder, olamot of Sheloka Seder. Our life, our physical arrangement is also made that way. We're made out of a guf and a neshama, a body that's under time, lemata min hazman, and a neshama that's lamala min hazman. We're made out of the Sheloka Seder and Keseder. Obviously, this is the design that a person has access and connection to the Sheloka Seder, to the out of order, and a person has a connection to the order. And by a person drawing and inviting and welcoming the order into the out of order, that is redemption. Is when a human being, through his choices, through his decisions, takes the out of order, the whether it's the natural part of his life, and elevates it to receive the Seder HaElyon. That's the Seder. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, according to the lower order, according to the out of order, Am Yisrael should have been wiped out. I'm going to show you that exists a higher order. And when you connect to this higher order, you draw down from this deeper order 13 midot of rachamim, infinite levels of mercy that will draw life and healing and change everything. The Maharal Miprag, the only Maharal Miprag writes, she is Seder Lanisim, famous Maharal. Don't think that world events are random. This Russia wants to kill us and then Hashem saves us. And this Hanukkah and this Purim, no. There's a higher order. This is the higher order of the Sfirot, the way they are in the Olamot Elyonim. That is the truth. And then there's the lower order, the Sheloka Seder. And then things happen in the natural worlds that causes us, Am Yisrael, to cry out to Hashem and to reveal that the higher order should be revealed in here in this physical world. So in a deep sense, celebrating this night of Geulah, the night of Pesach, is the night of Emunah. That's the night that we say with our kids, with our grandkids, with our families. And that's the night that we talk about Emunah. There's a mitzvah called Marbel Saper B'Yetziat Mitzrayim Harezem Meshubach. The more you talk about Yetziat Mitzrayim, the better it is. You know, even though a child can't fully understand the deepest things, or sometimes the adults can't understand certain things. You know, I imagine a kid sitting at a Seder with his father, his uncles, his aunts, whoever's there, and his Zayda's there. And he looks at his grandfather. And his grandfather, maybe he has a white beard, maybe he doesn't have a white beard. But his grandfather is connected to something deep, to something that he learned, or to some concept, or some depth that exists within him. And this child looks at his grandfather, or looks at his father that's connected, and says, it's a subconscious, conversation that goes on in their mind. They say, I don't understand what's going on, but they understand what's going on. There's something big, there's something grand. I'm seeing excitement, I'm seeing truth. I'm seeing that my father, my grandfather, my family, the people that know what's going on in my life, I see that they are excited tonight about a higher order, about a higher truth. They're celebrating, we're celebrating. It's not the same night as every night. A kid looks around and says, what happened tonight? What's happening tonight? What's happening tonight is Am Yisrael, wherever we are celebrating our connection to the higher order, to the Seder HaElyon. We're celebrating the reality that no matter what we experience in the physical, in the low world, in the Sheloka Seder, in the natural realm, is only a revelation. It's the lower revelation. We're celebrating the fact that there's a higher Seder, that there's a higher revelation that's appearing slowly in this world, and that we're waiting for its final appearance. We're waiting for the ultimate order of Hashem, the ultimate Seder, to come into this world, and to Bayom Hahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'Shmo Echad. So this night of Pesach is a night of Emunah. It's a night that we are believing. What are we believing in? What do we believe in? What's our Emunah? What's our source of joy? What's our source of infinity? Our joy and our infinity is that we believe in a higher order, that this higher order is the true order. And the lower order is only created there to give us a place, to give us bechira, to give us choice, to give us a place to exist, and that we could invite that higher order into our lives, into this world. Another interesting thing that has to be done ala seder is Shmona Esrei, Amida. Tfilat Amida has to be done ala seder. This concept of seder is a very, very deep concept. Why does Shmona Esrei have to happen ala seder? Talk to Hashem. You know, tell Hashem what's going on, how you feeling, thank you, this, that. You forgot about this, add it here, you forgot this. No, it's a seder. Geula, right? Slicha, Geula, Refuah. Why is there a seder, ala seder? The Gemara says, Shimon HaPakuli isdir Yudchet brachot lifnei Rabban Gamliel b'Yavneh ala seder. Ala seder. The Chazal, the words that Chazal use are beyond. Each word is irreplaceable. Each word is so deep. Chazal could have made a million words to describe this night. The night of Geula, the night of Cherut, the night of Moichin, the night of who knows what. Leila Seder. Leila Seder. And the Seder, you see that the Rishonim, already Rashi and all the Rishonim, there's so much hak, so much big deal about this. The words of that Seder, Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, Magid, Rachza, Motzi, Matzah, Maror, Korech, Shulchan, Orech, Tzafun, Barech, Halel, Nirtzah. 16 words, 15 concepts. The concept of 15 is also a whole other world. To understand the Seder, this is more understanding within the structure of the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's Yud, and there's Hey, and there's Vav, and there's Hey. These are all 4 letters that are symbolizing deep revelations and worlds of how Hashem is revealing and extending Himself into creation and giving Him name, making a relationship. So obviously the Yud is the highest level, and then the Hey is the second highest level, and then the Vav is the third level, and then the Hey is the lowest, the fourth. But the Yud K, Vav K could also be divided into 2, where the Yud K are some very high, like the same way in our bodies, we are made out of 10 sfirot, right? Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. But the 3 are in my head, and 7 are in the body, just like the Makot, were 3 in Parshas Boy and Vayera and Boy. Vayera has 7, and Boy has 3. So this arrangement of Yud and Hey being in one group, and then Vav and Hey being in another group, is very deep. And that's also a bechina of the Seder, the Yud and the Hey, they connect to the Seder part. And the Vav and the Hey, they connect to the Shaloka Seder. And tonight is the night where the Yud K shine into the Vav K. So that's why the Seder has itself 15 concepts. Because as we learn deeper about the Seder, we're going to see that every part of the Seder, we're not going to go, at Halavai, we should have the schus to go in today, but the Seder is to learn it is, we'll try to touch on it, and Hashem should open up our hearts to understand. But the Ari HaKadosh teaches us, opens up our eyes to understand that Leila Seder, it's not a night of memory, it's not a night of history, it's a night of reliving and re-experiencing redemption in the present. In me there exists out of order. In me there exists order. I have a lower self and a higher self. What is my galut? What is my geula? We think geula is some magical big thing. Geula, as Rav Avshi explains, that the geula starts with karval nafshi geala, with every individual consciousness redeeming themselves. From what? What do I need to redeem myself from within my own being? I have a lower being. I have an animal being within me. The struggle of the animal and the human within me, the high and the low within me. So geula is gematria 45, the same as gematria Adam. There's Adam and Behema. Adam u Behema Toshia Hashem. The struggle between the animal and the godly within me is the struggle of the Behema and the Adam. And the victory is Nasa Adam, is the victory of Tzuras Adam when the Seder conquers the Shaloka Seder. When the Adam conquers the Behema. When the Yud K conquers the Vav K. When the Moichin conquers the Midas. When the Elyon conquers the Tachton. So this itself, the Arizal teaches that this night of Geula, where it's happening, each one of us stops and individually invites into our lives the Seder that's made out of 15, out of Yud K. And more particularly, the Arba Kosot Shel Yain and the 3 Matzahs and the Karpas. The Arizal explains deep spiritual effects that happen as we eat and as we drink. Because what is eating and drinking? So deep. Etzadat, eating. The whole Torah, the whole mitzvahs of the food, anyone that looks deeper in what eating and drinking is, it's not a mundane, physical, external activity. It's very deep, very holy. Achal Yudke, Shata Yudke. Has to do with Yud-K. Achila is Aleph, Chaf, Lamed, Yud-K. Shatia is Yud-K. Has to do with the Yud-K coming into the Vav-K. It has to do with that Keseder part, elevating the Shalai Keseder part. So the Arizal writes that we drink Arba Kosot. Everyone drinks 4 cups of wine. Can't drink wine, can't drink grape juice. Make sure to drink 4 cups. If you can't drink big ones, drink small ones. 4 cups of wine are a very big deal. It's very important to wash the cup between each cup is a mitzvah, b'fnei atzma. And these cups, they bring, we're not going to get into this, I'm just going to say these words, and Hashem will help us understand it. What's called in Kabbalah, Moichin de Abba and Moichin de Ima. That means that Yud K, we could look at it as letters, but if we look at it as worlds, there's worlds that are called Abba, Chachma Ilah, and Bina, Ima Ilah. Very high, perfect worlds that exist of Seder, and then there's worlds of Shaleka Seder. And obviously, we as an Adam are made out of the Seder and the Shaleka Seder, and we're here to make Seder out of the Shaleka Seder, to invite the Seder, to celebrate the Seder. But the physical mitzvahs that Chazal gave us to do, to drink these 4 cups of wine, are not random. These 4 cups of wine that are the 4 Lashana Shel Geula, they, through them, through the mitzvah, through wanting to do the mitzvah, they bring down that level of kaseder into the shalai kaseder. They bring down what's called moichin de'ima. Every cup has different kavanas, and if we can makasher to the kavanas of the shemus akdoshim that the Arizal on the Rashash, and that's not the highest level. The highest level is to say Hashem, I love you, and I understand that tonight's a very very important, very precious, very special night, and tonight you're bringing down order into the out of order. Tonight there's redemption happening in the present. I'm inviting redemption into my life. I'm inviting order into my life. The Seder, that Seder of Rachamim, that Seder of Hallel, that Seder of Shemona Esrei. What's Shemona Esrei? Shemona Esrei is we're standing in the world and we're saying, Creator of the world, we're so thankful that there's a higher order. You showed us the higher order through Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, through the Shvatim. That higher order, please shine into the low worlds, into the out of order worlds. So Mamish, the Leila Seder is like a Shemona Esrei of the entire year. The Seder of the entire year. And then in the Shalosh Matzot, eating the 3 matzahs. Matzah itself, Gematria 135, is Gematria Absag. Without getting too much into this, again, anyone that learned a little Kabbalah, so this Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei also could be spelled out as names that's called Absag Ma and Ben. Ab is 72, Sag is 63, Ma is 45, and Ben is 52. This is different ways of spelling out Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, which has very deep meanings, extremely deep meanings. So the Yud and the Hey are symbolized by the names Ab and Sag, 72 and 63, which together is 135, which is Mamish Matzah. So when you're eating Matzah, we're Mamish eating Moichin, we're Mamish inviting into our physical blood, into our being, into our structure, into our life, order. Right? Hashem redeems us on this night, and it's not random. It's not like get Hamantashen, okay, light Hanukkah candles. No, tonight eat matzah. Why? Why matzah? Oh, because the party is happening tonight through matzah. That's how the lights are being drawn down into the world. That's how the celebration is happening. Matzah, wine, karpas deep in Yanim, and karpas maror, eating the maror. Maror is so deep. Actually, no. So let's maybe we'll go quick. We could do a little through the Kaddish. So Kaddish, obviously, we make Kiddush, and that's also the first cup of the Arba Kosot. The men drink it Ba'aseba. We drink it leaning on our left side. Urchatz, we wash our hands without Netilat Yadayim. Karpas, we dip the karpas in salt water, very, very deep in Yanim. Yachatz, breaking the matzah, breaking the middle matzah, Gewalt. This the holy Rishner, the holy Psalm Rishon, being by him for Leila Seder, this Chassidim right was Pachad Pchadim, was frightening. It was like sitting in a Yom Kippur meditation. Like the stories about the Kotzker Rebbe, about the Ovis Shol, but being by these tzaddikim, by the Seder was was mamish like a night of Shemona Esrei. Imagine an entire night where you are in the kavanas of Shemona Esrei, where you're basking in the order and requesting that order to fill and to shine the under order, the Shalek Seder. Where this is the energy of what took place this physical night, and that's taking place. But Yom Mahim Bazman Hazeh is not just Hanukkah, it's not just Purim, it's always. We always celebrate the present. We're always celebrating how Hashem is shining His light into the world tonight in a unique way, and today in a unique way. So Yachat's breaking the matzah is very, very deep. Magid is drawing down the light of Hashem to Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim. You know, Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim, literally Sipur means story, but in the Kabbalah Sipur means Sfira, spheres. And that's when we speak, when we say words, you could say, okay, what's the difference? It's everyone knows this. Okay, we said this last year. I remember this story from last year. Oh yeah, you remember he said that joke last year. He said the thing last year. Why do I have to say it again this year? It's not about remembering. It's about our team. Imagine right now when you're saying Magid, imagine stop for a moment during Leila Seder and stop for a second and say, I'm connecting to any brother, any sister, all my brothers and sisters, to my one family, Mishpachat Israel out there. Right now we're all celebrating present. We're all celebrating order. We're all talking and bringing and mesaper. Mesaper means we are becoming spheres. The light of Hashem is now coming to Hashem, not through the books. It's not happening through our mouths, through our bodies, through our talking, through our actions. The higher sphirot, the higher shinings of the lights are happening through our physical bodies, through our beings. Magid is hosting and containing and inviting those sphirot of seder, of order, that yes, thousands and thousands of years ago physically redeemed our nation out of Egypt, but right now they're shining. And right now we're asking them to redeem us and redeem our brothers and our sisters. You know, the Geula is not something that we're remembering. It's something that we're remembering only to request a better one today. The Geula that we're waiting for, is going to make it Yetzias Mitzrayim, is going to make it pale in comparison. It's going to be nothing, the Gemara says. The Geula that we're waiting for is so much more significant and big and powerful and majestic and Rachza. Then we wash our hands from matzah. Motzi matzah, eating the matzah. Eating the matzah is so precious. You know, if you're making a Seder, some people, since after COVID, and different people are making the Seder alone this year. I have a student of mine, his father's very sick. He told me, you know, his father can't walk this year. He told me till this year he was asking the questions. Now he start answering the questions. He doesn't know. How do you make a Seder? So some people bug out in the Seder. Seder is don't relax, my friend. Akol b'seder. Akol b'seder. The shear of matzah is very simple, the size of your palm. The shear of, if you eat a little more, 1 kazayas, 2 kazayasim. The machzarim are very written. You have everything written, very clear. If you need to do some prep Seder, call your friend before. If you're making a Seder, it's a good idea to maybe call your friend and say, hey, let's meet up and have a mock Seder. Worst comes to worst, we'll have 4 cups of wine. You know, but just to go over it and to really realize that it's not a big deal. Moitzi matzah, to eat ba'aseba. So we eat the matzah, the aseba leaning, the matzah leaning. And when you eat the matzah, remember, you say, what could a simple yid like me think? I know there's a bookshelf full of kavanas and there's a library full of Kabbalah. But if I think about it, it confuses me. And I want to be in dveikos. I want to be in joy. I want to be in love. I want to be in love. So what am I thinking? I'm just going to think that I'm in love and be grateful and thankful for this opportunity, for this moment, for this mitzvah. And remember all my brothers and sisters in the world that we're all just right now enjoying the truth of Hashem and requesting the freedom of Hashem to the world, requesting the order of Hashem to the creation. And we know that this matzah and this cups of wine, Chachamim told us, this is how it goes down. This is how it happens. Hashem made the world, and this is how it is. Don't shake lulav today. It ain't going to do a thing. You know, today eat matzah. Every Yom Tov has its way of connecting to the present. and making that same effect that took place in that time in a very big way, but in our life, in our private life, and we're requesting it to take place in the entire world. Hashem didn't age. Hashem didn't not get weak. He didn't go out of style. He didn't run out of money. The heavens are gewalt. Hashem wants us to remember what was in order to remember what is and to remember what will be. That's Hashem's name. Haya Oveh Yiyeh. Everything that He did, everything He is doing, everything He is doing, everything He's gonna do. Haya Oveh Yiyeh. Maror. Maror, very interesting. If a person doesn't say Pesach, Matzah, Maror, they're not Yaitse the Seder. So the tzaddik can speak about this. Pesach, I understand. Hashem skipped over the homes and Hashem did miracles. Matzah, He took us out b'chipazon really quick. But why is Maror? What's the celebration of the years of oppression and bitterness and blood and crying? How is that an integral part of the celebration of Pesach? And the deep answer that tzaddikim write is that a person, that the geula is not just light that comes and washes away the galus and creates a new order. The geula comes and shows you that the galus was necessary in order to create the geula. There cannot have been any Pesach or any matzah if it wasn't for the maror. The maror, you see, when you chew the maror, there's a sweetness. Chewing the maror, the Gemara says, "Bala maror lo yatsa." If a person swallows maror, they're not yatsa. You have to chew it. You know, in my house, always grinding the crane, the white crane was like my father used to do it, and I did it for years. This year, it's you have to do it on Friday. But like, you know, I remember by us in the Seder, watching my father cry from the maror was like, wow. Like if you get to cry from the maror, it's deep. You chew the maror and cry for it. And remember that samachenu kimoti nitanu, that the joy that we're going to receive also in our days, in our geula, is going to be a product of the maror, of the galut, of the bitterness, of the darkness. And we're going to really see, like the Ishbitzer says, when the geula comes, we're going to realize that there was no bad ever, that there was no pain ever. That the maror was just a way to get to the matzah, a way to get to the korban Pesach. You know, I'll say something maybe a little controversial, but what can we do? The Maharal, but I'm saying this lito'elet, only don't take the good side of what I'm saying in this Indian. The Maharal writes, very interesting that when a person says there's a point in the Seder that you lift up, you say Pesach zu, Matzah zu, and they say maror zu, you point to the maror. So the Maharal says when you say maror zu, you point to your wife. And it's very deep, because obviously we're talking about maror as, you know, Eshet Chayil mi imtza. This is a very time to talk a little bit about this. Eshet Chayil, you could sing to your wife the most beautiful, romantic Eshet Chayil, the kids, and Abot Banot Asu Chayil, Vatalit Al Kulana, we should all have these feelings to our wives and the ability to sing it to our wives in Shlom Bayit. But not every home is living in euphoric Shlom Bayis. Some homes are living in struggles. My father told me that, you know, he says there's different types of couples. There's couples that live, you know, side by side. There's couples that live together, and there's couple that live against each other. But they work. Yeah, obviously they have ups and downs. And there's also times in our lives. There's times in your life where you're, you know, face to face, back to back, back to back. Arizal writes that there's 4 levels of every relationship: face to face, back to face, and face to back. There's all kinds of relationships, but the term Eshet Chayil, I heard from one of the tzaddikim. Anshe Chayil is also men of war. Soldiers are called Anshe Chayil. Sometimes there's times in coupleship that there's a struggle, that there's a war, that there's a building, not a war in the sense of I want to chashem, hate you and kill you and destroy you, but a struggle. There's so much goodness and becoming that happens through the struggle of life, and particularly through the struggle of relationships. And when you think about Eshet Chayil, yes, Alavai, that we have the time that we're thinking my wife, Gaval, she's the best present that I had, the biggest gift that I had, and my family and my kids and my life. Gaval, thank you Hashem for my wife. But there's times in my life that things are bumpy, where there's, you know, sometimes it's like so then Eshet Chayil. That's the maror. You point to your wife, and that, obviously this is be done with the right, and say Hashem, thank you for the maror, thank you for the galos, thank you for the challenges, thank you for the bittership. Thank you for these challenges of becoming, because this is how man is made. Okay, total side point on maror. Maror korech. Oh, so then we get to Korech. Korech obviously is this Hillel already. Hillel and Shammai. Everyone knows Hillel and Shammai used to argue throughout different places in Shas. And the Arizal explains to us that Hillel and Shammai were not arguing. They were each looking at the world through their Shorish Neshama, through their root soul. Hillel comes from Chasadim, and Shammai comes from Gevuras. Chasadim and Gevuras are the Da'at, how the Neshamas come to the world, is Chesed and Gevura. And the Neshamas that come through Gevura, they see the world through a Gevura lens, and the Neshamas that comes through Chesed, through Chesed lens. Obviously, the Chesed has in it 10 spheres, and the Gevura has 10 spheres, and our job is, person can't say, hey, I am Chesed, so this is how I am, and I'm Gevura, this is how I am. No. That's breaking of the vessels. We're here to become one. Shammai and Hillel were actually best friends. Their families would marry each other. But Hillel saw things through the Chasadim. So the Chesed is to koirech, is to bind, to realize that really there's Marar, and really there's Pesach, but really it's all one shtickle, it's one story. So koirech is really that next level of the Marar where you realize that it's all Chesed Hashem, that everything is Chesed, and the Pesach, the Matzah, the Maror, everything is Chesed Hashem. It's one beautiful sandwich. Life is a Gevalt sandwich, a Hillel sandwich, Chesed sandwich. Maror korech Shulchan Orech. You have the Suda of Yom Tov, very special Suda. Don't make sure not to eat too much because there's Afikaimen. Who could eat too much also after the Pesach, the Matzah, the Mari, it's Arbakoisis, but Gevad. Shulchan Orech. Obviously in Magid we skipped over the second cup. Okay, the first cup, the second, the third cup is going to be in Shulchan in Barech. Well, the third cup of Arbakoisis is by benching. So Shulchan Tzafun is Afikaimen, very deep in Yanim and Afikaimen. Whether your minig is to hide it, your father hides it, whatever it is, do your minig. The minagim of the Seder are very, very holy. Also the minig of pouring the cup of Kosher Eliyahu over here, extremely important. The Maharal in Prague has a whole davening that when you open the door from Eliyahu Hanavi, there's a whole Yerotza, and you should take that time. Don't just open the door and sit down. You should take that time to open the door and give it a minute of meditation by the door and ask Eliyahu Hanavi and ask for the Geula. It's a time to ask. We're not just opening the door of our home. We're opening the doors of our perception, the doors of our Ritzaynus. Hashem, we want Geula. We don't want to stay in this gullus forever. Tonight's a night that you're giving us the ability to break free. Mamash, invite Eliyahu into our lives. Invite Geula into our lives, into our thinking. Help us move to Eretz Yisrael. Help us move out of physicality, out of materialism. Help us move out of all the things that we're stuck in, out of the kinah, ta'ava, kavod, out of all the chametz, out of all the guk. Help us believe that we could be redeemed. Help us become redeemed in our mind and then become redeemed with foil mamish later on. Hallel nirtza. And then we sing Hallel. We sing to Hashem songs of praises, thanking Hashem this beautiful night, Lel Shimurim, the infinite night, the night of no darkness. Laila Kayom Yair. Endless to talk about that, about Echad Miyodea, about Echad Gadya. So much. Kedai to look into it. At that point, whoever is up is up. By us, sometimes we had one year during the Seder. I guess it was one of those really tough Erev Pesachs. We were exhausted. And me, my wife, my kids, everyone, we must have had, 5, 10 guests. Everyone fell asleep by the Seder. But passed out, like half hour. We got up, we're like, what's going on? I said, everyone, okay, we're making coffee and we're moving on. Just the coffee we were great. We stayed up all night. So at this point, if you feel halal, get up, go outside, get some fresh air, make a cup of coffee, do some stretches. It's kedai to sing to Hashem. It's a special night. And then nirtza, a person that does this, the mamish, the baskol comes out and says, you're going to the highest level, because the whole energy of this night is our excitement and our celebration of that higher order that exists in the present, that our nation experienced as a nation in Yetzias Mitzrayim, that we experienced during Hallel, that we experienced during Shmona Esrei, that we experience, and every time there's a miracle, we're experiencing the revelation of that higher order into the lower order. Purim, Chanukah, it's always the celebration of that Seder. And from here, we go into Sfirat omer. We'll finish with this. We go into Sfirat omer. This night the second, right? We start from this, from the Seder, we start a very, very interesting mitzvah of Sfirat omer, counting the omer till Shavuos, because the truth is that the night of the Seder is not a standalone night. It's actually a part of a process that goes on till Shavuos. It's a 50-day process. The Arizal explains that there's a tremendous level of awareness and redemption and light. It's called Katnut Rishon and Katnut Sheni, for those who learned a little bit. Gadlut Rishon and Gadlut Sheni. As if in one night we grow from being 0 to being 20 years old. That's the night of the Seder. Hashem says, you were in such pits in Mitzrayim, in such darkness, I cannot take you out slowly, slowly. I have to take you out, boom, I'm going to make you 20 years old, and boom, you're going to go out. We were all 20 years old on the nights of the Seder. And that's what happened to us. We get a tremendous maturity and light and awareness on this night. And according to Kabbalah, this light disappears after the first night. And the 49 days of Sfirat omer, 7 weeks, 7 weeks of 7 days, 7 times 7, leading us up back to every day we go through a private, one of our midot, one of our low, because we ourselves are made in that Seder and Shalok Seder, the higher order and the lower order, the out of order, which means that our midot, our personality, our emotions are out of order, and our intelligence is in the order. So on the night of Pesach, we get totally blitzed by intelligence, and okay, we're all amazing, we're redeemed, good. But that doesn't last. In order for this to have an everlasting, real impression, in order for us to really upgrade and redeem our lives and our emotions and our personalities, this requires a 7-week process where every day we go through a particular one of the midot, chesed shebechesed, gvura shebechesed, tifer shebechesed. We finish chesed, we finish gvura, where we take our entire lower being and realize that we're not meant to wash away and to ignore our lower personality. We're meant to elevate it, and through elevating it and incorporating it, turning our lower personality into vessels that will receive the highest lights. It's through the fusion of that Seder and the Shaloka Seder, the Guf and the Neshama. It's that fusion that creates the Kli Shalem, the Merkava. So these 49 days of Sphira really are days of us inviting and bringing that Seder, that order, every day into another part of the Shaloka Seder, of the out of order that exists within us. And on the 50th gate, where we reach the 50th Shara Chamishim, the 50th gate, that's the day of Shavuos. And that's the mikvah of Shavuos that we go in the morning. And on that mikvah, that's when the Keter Elyon, that's when the Holy Crown, that's when we receive it. So really, this is one long process of celebrating order, of rejoicing with the higher order and welcoming it into our home through the physical mitzvot of Leila Seder, and then through later on the unfolding through Sfirat omer, till we reach the Keter of Shara Chamishim on Shavuot. And that's why the 49 days of Sfirat omer, 49 is Lev Tov, that's the ultimate, is Lev. The Lev, we have Moach and Lev. We have the intelligence, and then we have the attributes, the midot, the personalities, and that's called Lev. And our Lev, that's where the issues are. It's in our heart, it's in our midot. And we want to get to Lev Tov. Lev Tov is the main Inyan, to bring a Lev Tov. Lev Tov is Gematria 49. And taking that heart out from a selfish, physical, material heart, and infusing it with godliness and bringing it, connecting it to the mochin, and allow to say Nasev and Nishma, well, we're going to receive the Torah. My heart, my midot is going to receive the higher order. That's a Lev Tov. That's the avoid of Sfirat omer. And that's really the Seder, that's really the ultimate Seder, is that in Kiryat Yamsuf, Hashem revealed to us, Hashem revealed to Am Yisrael as a very young revelation, as if we saw him, we all saw Hashem on Yamsuf. What did we see him like? We saw him as like a warrior, 20-year-old mighty warrior that's killing his enemies and healing his loved ones, and strong out there. But after counting 49 days of Sphira, we saw Hashem again in Har Sinai. And what did we see him then like? Zaken Malei Rachamim. We saw him long, white beard, full of mercy. And because this change happens inside of us, as we go through this transformation of first connecting to this order and bringing this order into the out of order. That's why Pesach, the name of Pesach is Rachamim. Upasachti alechem, what it says in the pasuk, v'chamalti alechem. It's mercy. It's becoming more merciful, and more godly. Like we spoke about the journey of Tomer Dvorah, of a person becoming godly through their personal relationships, through opportunities in our lives when people are mean to me, when people are obnoxious to me, when people don't deserve mercy. I say, I'm not merciful to you because you deserve mercy. I'm merciful to you because I'm here to become more merciful, because we're here to become godly. We're here to become the higher order. So that's the days of Sfirat Omer, and that's the energy of the order that we're inviting into Leil Seder. And that's the energy of the Geula that we're so thankful to Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for connecting us to Geula. And Yehi Ratzon that each one of us this year should have the zchut to celebrate these days of Pesach and Sfirat Omer and Shavuot with a high consciousness, but not just high, but also with a low consciousness, with connecting to everything ugly and low and physical and material inside of us, all the out of order, and realizing that all that is meant to become in order by us inviting it. And at the end, we're going to reach the 50th level. The Zarakti Alechem Mayim Torim. We're all going to reach the Keter Elyon, the highest level. So Pesach Kasher V'Sameach to all my deep friends. May Hashem help us all think about each other in Leil Seder. At any point, send each other love, send each other l'chaim, send each other blessings, inspiration. May we exist the transformation of this time that the world is in. We should experience the conquest of order and the light of order coming into the existence, redeeming each individual and redeeming us together. And may we have the zchut to really, Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim Abnuya. Shana Haba, but doesn't mean next year, 2026. No, Shana Haba means mañana. Next go, ahorita, right now. Let's go. Let's go to Yerushalayim, my friends. Let's be in Yerushalayim. Let's be in a city of Yirah, of Shalom, of Ahavat Israel, a city that where we're all, imagine Yerushalayim, our entire nation in one city with one wall around it. Feasting. Gewalt. L'chaim, Pesach Kasher V'Sameach.